Oh, hey, let's do it live on a Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Merely Bo, the great Z. Everybody, they're all here. We're reported. You're going to Virginia tomorrow, West Virginia tomorrow. Gibbe's already left. He's out doing reconnaissance, making sure things are.
He's got until Monday at 1 to get the lines in, and so he's like, I better get out there.
Get plenty of lead
Friday
time
at 1.
Plenty of lead time to get there and make sure.
Yeah.
Check all those.
He's left the
cross all those
Stevies in
T's.
charge.
Stevies are in charge. Our pets' heads are falling off. Yeah. All of these things. Scarlett's over there. He's got helmets and footballs.
Scarlett.
He's chasing around. He's getting a real feel for them. It's go time here a little bit, my friend.
Oh, it's very much so go time. It's exciting. This is what, I was down in the cafe, ran into a bunch of the players.
Yep.
Good to see everybody back. And they're ready to go. I think everybody's kind of looking forward to getting to the Greenbrier, getting some of the paces in, playing a little golf, bonding, and getting ready. What's crazy is we are now 13 days away from the preseason opener. Get your head around that.
Yeah.
The Hoff will be inducted in 15 days.
It's easier for me to wrap my head around that than it is that you're going to have a practice tomorrow down in West Virginia.
Yeah. That's right.
Because at least that's August.
Yeah.
And that seems like, okay, Hall of Fame game, that's August, let's go. This, like July 22 go is a hard thing for me to wrap my head around. But it's here, and it's going to be an exciting thing. And this team will fly tomorrow down there and then practice in the afternoon. That is a schedule, correct?
You have got that. You are correct, sir. Yes.
Is that Phil Hartman doing Ed McMahon?
Yeah, it feels like yes.
Yes. And then Carvey was
correct,
Carson.
Sir. Yeah.
You and I just so dated ourselves.
It was great. That's fine.
Yeah. Who knows who the Carsons are?
I never watched that. That was never a live thing for me anyway. So
you know how I will tongue in cheek but kind of seriously tease my dad that he's part of the worst generation in American history. That they're him and Pedro, that they came from the greatest generation in American history.
Tongue in cheek it, but yeah.
Well, it's serious to me. I think he thinks I'm joking. It really upsets him, so I like to do it a lot.
Yeah.
But I was like, be quite honest. Like, what'd you do? Like, Grandpa stormed the beaches of Normandy. What'd you do with your life? What a waste. And I'll say that to him. He's approaching 75, and he gets annoyed with it, but it's fun for me. I have another example of that. So, one of the you collected the sports cards as a kid, correct? You
Absolutely.
Had the cards, had them. I had a binder of football, basketball, and baseball cards that I've had my whole life. There were probably another 15 or 20 cards in hard cases that were considered like these are the good ones. And then boxes upon boxes of cards, right? This was the way that
the good ones?
These were the good ones. Like you got to protect these. The Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards, the last Jordan upper deck, or whatever. A Bo Jackson, a Deion Sanders rookie, these type of things. Okay, so there's a Steve Young rookie in there. There's a Joe Montana from like '81.
Steve Young rookie's not worth anything.
Probably not a dime. So NBC got this app on his phone. And on this app, you can take a picture of the card. It'll scan it, and it will tell you it's basically a StockX for trading cards.
Love it.
So you can get a live market on what your card is worth, what most recent ones have been sold for, and what, like the high, the low of it, right? It's a live stock market of the cards.
Like it.
So yesterday he was going through his. He's like, wow, Dad, this Luka Prism whatever rookie's worth $2,000 or $700 or whatever. I'm like, fantastic. Let's sell it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go nuts.
Immediately.
Let's sell it right away. So he goes, well, Dad, you remember when Grandpa and Uncle Cade came out, they brought your cards. Let's take a look at them.
I don't even want to hear this.
So
you're about to make me weep.
So and now I have guarded these cards for my whole life.
Same.
For 30 years, I've guarded them. I've kept them in boxes and tight and, well, don't do anything with the cards. I'll deal with the cards. I've moved them for years. I've looked at them with reverence. There's a Kobe rookie card in there and all of this stuff, right?
Yep.
So he starts scanning. And he's kind of quiet. And he goes, oh, well, here, Dad, here's one this one's $41. And I said, well, what about this? I go, this is the Mark Jackson one with the Menendez twins courtside. That was a big card. I said, what about the Billy Ripken with the bottom of the bat? That was a big card. The Juan Gonzalez reverse negative, like that's not a big.
Nothing.
All worth $2.
So nothing we have is worth.
So
anything.
nothing we have is worth anything.
That's
it's
really
all
depressing.
nothing. It's awful. And there was times I know when you used to get like the Beckett magazine that there were some of those that were, several of them were worth several $100s.
Yes.
20 some years ago.
Yes.
Well, they're all worth nothing now. They're worth jack. I mean, it's the whole collection that I have spent all of this time curating and protecting and keeping in good standing for the better part of 30 some years. It's all worth bupkis. Nothing. It was awful. He felt bad for me. He's like, Dad, I kind of feel bad for you. And I'm like, yeah, I do too, that I've protected them this way, which brings me back to our father's generation's rooting things. This is just simply the fact that none of us threw them away.
Because we had all
we all heard the stories. Because everybody
had a 56 mantle. Every single one of them. They all had it.
Oh, I had a Mickey Mantle. I had that Mickey Mantle rookie card. Yeah. Okay, you all had it, and now nobody has it, so that's why it's worth anything. So because they told us that story, all of us. I know Pedro told you that story.
Of course. No, he had a 56.
Of course. Yeah.
Had it all.
Oh, your grandmother threw it away.
Threw it? Absolutely.
Same
Nani
story always. Nani cleaned it out. It's always the same stories always. And because none of us allowed for that to happen, they're not worth anything.
Because we all have them.
Because we all have them. It was awful.
I knew exactly, like when you started down this path,
yeah,
I knew exactly what you were saying.
Awful.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I would have been better off, like the Griffey Jr. rookie, I should have sold that when I was 16. So that's what I told NBC. I'm like, let's sell these suckers now. We'll put it in the S&P and forget about it.
While it's hot.
Get out of it.
Agreed. Couldn't agree more. It's good parenting, good fathering.
Sad deal.
It's ridiculous. You would think that would be worth like, I have complete sets of
course
this
you do.
and that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like literally one of the ones that was worth the most, there was some Kevin Duckworth All-Star card. And I don't even know why it was worth like $40. It was worth more than like a Bo Jackson rookie.
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Makes no
what
sense.
Happened?
Maybe because he had a small head.
I don't need to have a normally
Not
small
like
head.
Benoit Benjamin.
Other way with that.
That was the strangest creation ever.
There's not much
Huge
I can.
specimen.
Yeah.
Tiny little head. Duckworth had a weird shot too. He had that like.
Well, that was Cartwright.
Cartwright was over there, but Duckworth did like a hitch and then threw it with one hand.
Well, that's because at that point there weren't shot doctors training you how to shoot. You just shot
how you shot.
How you shot. It wasn't somebody going, well, you got to step into it or you got to have this perfect release, like the Curry shot. Like now every basketball coach trainer teaches the Curry shot.
Yes.
But in those days, you just like Bird shot here. It was two-handed over his head.
Yeah.
Just however you made it. Boom. Bottoms.
I tried to shoot like that, and I had no ability to control the
No.
because it was like a throw from the back of your head.
It's crazy.
My dad shoots like across his head like this, and he says because he has astigmatism. So then he's. But he could shoot it. He could shoot it.
But he can't. You into this Open Championship so far?
Of course. Brian Harman is like running away with it. I mean,
Spieth made a little bit of moves this afternoon, which was pretty fun.
But
did he fall out? He was at 5 when I left.
He's back to 3.
Oh, shoot.
So Harman's at 10. Fleetwood's at 5. Lee and Sharma are at 3. Cam Young is at 3 on 10. So he's 4 under today. So Cam Young's making a little bit of a move. Spieth is 3 under today, 1 under, but he was at 5 like after 8, I want to say.
That's where I left him. He was at 5.
Harman's 10 under, so he's 5 shots clear of second, 7 shots clear of third, and he shot a
65,
6 under today without a bogey.
Is that too big to fail?
No.
Without weather?
No, because that's just he comes out one day and shoots let's say on the next round he goes out and he shoots a 71, so he stays at 10, and Fleetwood, who's at 5, finishes at 5 and then shoots a 68. And all of a sudden he's at 8, and then it's fully on.
Now you're on.
But I mean, if he continues, then yes,
if he goes under par,
if he goes under par again, it feels pretty. If nobody gets closer than 5 by the end of this round, I mean, he should win. He's in a great position to win the tournament. He's just got to do it. But that's also a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he's got.
I don't know that Harman's ever won a major or anything like that.
No, I'm certain that. You and I both love the Open. Did you like John Rahm has not had a great time?
No.
Did you see his presser yesterday where he was complaining about the boom mics around Rory? He couldn't go at his pace. There were 1,000 people everywhere. He was not pleased at all. And then he dunked it in bunkers. He hit himself with his driver. He let go of his driver on a follow-through, and it came back and whacked him in the face.
He missed
had a
a
hell of a time.
He missed a putt on 18 that put him to 2 over, which puts him on the cut line.
Yeah, and there was a audible something that would get us thrown off the air on one of those.
He was displeased.
He was not pleased with that at all.
Do you remember when Tiger did that and Ian Baker Finch was on the call and he goes, technical term from Tiger there?
I do remember. That was a good group.
Yeah.
A good group of people
Yeah.
with Ian Baker Finch was on that. That was Faraday, Ian Baker Finch. Were that all that CBS crew? McCord? All those cats, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see they changed the bunker approach? Did you hear this story? So typically for the Open, they have the bunkers flat.
Level, so the ball
level.
rolls to the front.
So it rolls to the front, right? So apparently they deemed it too hard yesterday, so they raked them up one rung on every bunker. So now instead of them rolling straight to the face and stopping, they're rolling back, which I thought was nonsense. Like the bunkers don't hit into the bunker. They're there for a reason. That's
they
the
are.
point.
That's the
They
defense
should
of
be
that
punitive.
course.
Yeah. What is he doing?
I don't know.
With all these helmets, Scarlett.
Massive calves.
It's all the sauntering.
Yeah. You can't saunter like that with
There's
no
weight
calves.
to it. There's a weight to it.
A heft.
All right, Gibby wants to know the 5 biggest questions as you head into training camp.
Number one. It's just, does Deshaun Watson continue to look like we have seen him look going forward?
That's 1 through 5.
It's in terms of importance, yes, but it is number one for
Second's
the purposes
8,
of this.
as you like to say.
All right, number two.
Number two.
There it is. Yes.
Good job.
Can Jerome Ford lock up that number 2 spot, or do the Browns need to add a veteran? And maybe they need to have a veteran even if he does lock up the number 2 spot into that running back room. Number 3. Do we add another defensive tackle of note? I think that's a big question. Do we feel like we need to?
Number 4.
Did anything happen while everybody was gone? Like, is everybody
Injuries,
reporting okay?
health.
Yes, all of that.
How do we look?
Number 5.
And number 5. I'm going to tie in the linebacking room into that. We have the 4 guys who were coming back from injuries last year. Like, are we all ready to go? And then number 5 for me is going to be, what does this defense look like under Jim Schwartz? Do we see some of those 5-man fronts he was talking about? When do we start to see that kind of stuff?
Defensive identity,
schematics, all of it.
Do you think? Give me a scouting report on Gibbe at the Greenbrier. What are you looking at? What are we looking at there?
I don't know what we're looking at there, to be honest with you, because I think Gibbe is going to find the Greenbrier to be like he's going to be a little bit of a fish out of water at the Greenbrier.
Yeah.
So I think he is going to defy your recommendations, and I think he's actually going to spend a lot of time in White Sulphur Springs, which could go.
That's his game. You think is he's going to go that way? He's going off campus a lot.
I do think so. He's already scouted out. He said he's got like 4 or 5 dive bars he wants to check out.
I mean, I know he's seen Justified.
Yeah.
Harlan is not that different than White Sulphur Springs.
Correct.
It's not that different.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's what it's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of, lurking, a lot of staying around. We got to cover a lot of ground. I would imagine from the hotel to wherever these fields are. I imagine
they're across the street.
Yeah.
So they're across the street and down. Like you're probably gonna have to shuttle.
Shuttles. Yeah.
So you're gonna be. They have like a Christmas store that's open all year round. That's right by a train station. That's right.
Yep,
across
I know that.
the street. Mm-hmm. So it's up from there.
Okay.
So that's right from across the street from the opening from the entrance, and then it's up from there and over. It's definitely
Shuttles.
a shuttle.
Yeah.
Or a long brisk morning walk, whichever you prefer. But you have to go across a major thoroughfare, a highway in order to get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and it's depending on where you are it's a big property, man. You know that.
Huge.
So like just getting to and fro, like when he's like, I'm going to camp at the pool. I'm like, it's a bit of a hike down there.
It is.
It is. Hike. And it's all uphill coming back. Be careful about that. You made a prime rib yesterday.
Boy, did I.
Give it to me.
Boy, did I. All right. You wanted to run through
I
this
tell
for
you
the
what,
people.
This is how serious I am. Normally, I take a pen. I got a pen out, but I'm going even bigger than that. I'm going straight to notes.
Okay.
All right, prime rib.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. We'll start at the very beginning.
Yep.
You purchase the prime rib. You ask your butcher to cut and tie it. So they cut the bones off and then tie them with butcher's twine back onto the roast.
Cut and tie.
Yeah, ask butcher to cut and tie it. So this was a 3-bone, 8.5-pound prime rib that I did yesterday.
Okay.
And if people are asking to see how it turned out, I do have pictures. So if people decide they want to see it at some point,
bone in.
I will go ahead and put that out there.
All right.
By the way, would have been great to have paired this with. We did not. We went Napa Cab, which was delicious. We'll talk about it in a second. But you see our good friend Jade is in Bordeaux right now.
Of course she is.
Making me quite jealous, quite envious.
Do you think this year we'll finally be able to use her professional musical stylings on the program?
That she recorded
She's
specifically
just
for
for
us
us?
and that we've asked to have be a part of the program that we are on?
Yes. That is very good.
Better than...
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Next. All right. Purchase it.
All right, purchase it.
Cut it. Tie it.
Yep. Okay. This is the day before
All right.
the cooking. Then you will take it home.
Yep.
You will rub it all over with Penzeys prime rib, English prime rib rub.
All right.
And then you're going to put it in your fridge uncovered, and you are going to leave it in there overnight.
Uncovered. All right.
Overnight. So it's just in the fridge. That helps with a nice crust on it. Then what you're going to do the next day is you're going to take it out. You are in a small mixing bowl. You're going to pour a bunch of olive oil in there. You are then going to get fresh rosemary and chop it up, finely chopped fresh rosemary and fresh thyme. You put that into the olive oil. And I'm going I like rosemary a lot. I'm probably 3 to 4 full sprigs worth
Okay.
of
All right.
leaves.
Okay.
And then thyme, to your liking.
Yep.
So that goes in the olive oil. Also, you'll sprinkle a little garlic salt, not too much salt because you got a lot of salt in that prime rib rub that's already on there. So a little bit of salt into this olive oil, and then a bunch of fresh cracked pepper into this olive oil.
Yep.
The final step to the olive oil, though, is you are going to, using a garlic press,
Yep.
you're going to press about 10 to 12 cloves of garlic
Okay.
into that. Now you're going to, with a
creating
silicone
a
brush,
paste, aren't you?
You're going to make a paste with that. That's right. Then I'm going to put on my black nitrile gloves that you
Yep.
had me get, and I am, with my hands, going to rub this paste all over the outside of the meat, and then I'm even going to slide some
you're getting in.
underneath the bone and into that little crevasse until it is completely covered. And when it's
Ensconce.
and when it's completely covered, Bo, let's see, did I take a picture of it? I didn't take a picture of it until after I had seared it. But then when it comes out of the first searing portion, it's going to look like that.
Okay.
So in addition, though, the last step before you do your pre-sear is you're going to take a knife and you're going to jab in, a few holes on the side, one in each of the top, kind of there, and you're going to then slide in slivers of garlic. So take a garlic clove, cut it in half, and you slide those in to all of those various spots through the side, through the top, and then I even put some whole garlic cloves in underneath in that under area again.
All right.
Okay? Then you're going to set your oven to roast at 475 degrees. Convection on if you've got it, even better.
I do.
Same.
Oven roast to 475. Okay.
I just put it in a baking pan. You don't even need to put a roasting pan because you're not really roasting it, so a baking pan's easier to clean.
Yep.
So I did it in a baking pan in the oven, 475 for 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that is going to get you this kind of a crust right there. That's just 15 minutes in there.
Yep.
So you get that crust, and now it's...
You had bone up on that? You place that?
So they always... I don't go bone up on it because you don't want that top fat cap directly on. You want the fat to be dripping down
through,
and the top's actually the fat cap, so bone down.
Bone down. Okay.
Yeah, meat. It sits kind of on the bone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Then you take it out of there. Let it sit for like 5-10 minutes because you need to cool down again.
Yeah, it's 475.
Right. So, and the meat is not 475, obviously, at this point, but, you got the crust on it. Let it cool for, however long it needs to cool. When it is done cooling, then you can grab it, put it into your big bag.
Yep.
If there's any leftover paste, I just dumped it right on in there.
Yep.
In the water, I do 133 degrees.
All right.
133 degrees for 6 hours. And you always can go plus, like if you had 7 hours. Like yesterday, because of the timings, I had to come in for the show, so I put it in at like 12:15.
Yeah.
And then I didn't take it out until 7:15, and obviously it was fine.
Yeah.
So in there, 6 hours. We just fast forward through 6 hours. You take it out, put it out there, pat it dry, paper towel, pat it dry. Save the bag juices because you're going to put those into a little pot. I put it in like a very small kind of a pot. Put all those bag juices in, salt, pepper, Worcestershire, red wine, fresh sprigs of rosemary, a couple of those frozen garlic cloves you can drop in there. Yep. And you want to reduce that all down.
Okay.
Then you add a little beef broth to that at the end, and you keep, whipping it up. That becomes your au jus, which is, when I say a treat, it is a treat.
You're not messing around with that.
So your meat's sitting there. That's happening simultaneously with the next step. You're actually doing that over the final 10 minutes. The meat's in there. What I do prior to pulling the meat out is I melt a little bit of ghee.
Yep.
I have now cleaned my silicone brush, so I bring it back.
Yep.
I will brush the outside with the melted ghee.
Melted ghee.
Back into the oven at 475 for 10 minutes, and then you get that.
Look at that sucker.
And then you take it, and then you cut into it, and you get that, which you saw yesterday, which is basically perfect prime rib. Prime rib in July. I felt it. Oh, and there it is on the plate. I think you saw that as well yesterday.
Gorgeous.
I'm a big au jus dunker, so I make myself a bowl of au jus and keep it next to me, and I like to dunk every bite full submerged in there. I don't pour it on. No,
I'm in.
I'm a dunker.
I would do that the same.
And then there it is.
Right. I
That's
took
it.
meticulous notes on this.
Yeah.
I've never made this. You've talked about this for Christmas for many, many years.
Yeah.
I usually do a tenderloin. I'm going to do one of these between now and then.
Yeah.
And then I will do that. But the last line I wrote here is done. You're welcome.
That's right. And it's so easy.
Yeah.
And it is so good.
That's right.
And if people, this is how I like my prime rib. This is 133, but you could go up to 136 and you'd have no problems if people wanted a little less. I'm perfect. That's their personal choice.
I always say though, like that's what prime rib's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Like if you want it, if it's gray, then don't order a prime rib.
Stop it. You're hurting my ears.
That's not a prime rib.
Right.
That's not what that is.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's basically perfect. What I think makes it so easy is when you're doing a prime rib in the oven, even if you reverse sear it and then do it low, you are kind of beholden to the way that your oven works, to the way that the meat responds to your oven. You could be thinking, oh, this is going to be, they always say it's an hour for every, pound or whatever, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, 8 hours later, it's not ready, or sometimes in 4 hours, and dinner's supposed to be at 7:30, and here you're at 5:30 with your prime rib done.
Oh, my God. This is a sous vide dream.
This
is what the sous vide's for.
So then every side is perfectly prepared exactly because you can time out the final 10 minutes whenever you want.
Yeah.
You have an hour plus or minus,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, the storm came and basically made it seem like it was nighttime out.
It did. It was quite dark.
So it made sense to be having prime rib.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we were done eating, the storm was gone and it was light out again at 8:30, and it probably wouldn't have made as much sense to be having prime rib. So it actually, the weather cooperated. It was my prime rib in July, which I always do for my birthday, and this year I didn't. And we had Kayla's mom came over. We had a very nice Rutherford Krutz Beckstoffer Vineyard George's III 2017 cab, which was a 95 pointer. It was quite tasty, and everybody was happy. It was a win-win-win.
A lot of wins. I'm excited to try this. I'm very excited to try this, and it feels like a win across the board. And it's also the best use of the Hoff sous vide. So there's that part of it as well. The key to all of this is you have got to set aside the time to do it right.
Yep.
You've got to do that part right.
So, like, yesterday I went to the gym in the morning, returned from the gym to give all this attention and get it in so that it would be ready at an appropriate time. But if you're doing it on a holiday or a day where you're home all day, it's very easy.
Oh, for sure.
Because you can leave, and as you noted yesterday, we were monitoring it from here. Sure. And we had the official Nana came in and did a submersion inspection. And so I would recommend, as you saw the picture when I showed you when I put it in, prime rib is weighty. You need to get the 2.5 gallon bags.
Yep, the big boy.
The biggest bags you can get, and then you got to get a lot of the ones with the holes in it, your hold spoons or your skimmers, because you need that to make sure we're hanging out down below.
Good job out of you.
But I got to tell you something. Like, I think that if you would have told young me that in water I could create the perfect prime rib, I would have said, you, sir, are nuts.
You would have thought you were just as nuts if I would have told young you that none of your baseball cards were going to be worth anything.
Well, that makes me sad, though. This makes me happy.
One we giveth and we taketh.
Yeah.
So we've acquired the prime rib. We've lost the innocence of our youth and what we thought would be protected hidden treasures of sports cards, because they're not worth anything.
No, it was very sad.
Yeah, it was. Going to have a lot of fun on the program today. Last one before camp starts. Some news around the league. The commies. This is a pretty good play out of this new ownership group. We'll get to that in just a second. Plus Dan Graziano, Louis Riddick, Seth Walder with their future NFL team rankings. I'll tell you what, they're not crazy about us. We'll have some fun with all of that. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet. Sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. This one happening right as we were going on the air. The Ravens have added running back Melvin Gordon on a one-year deal for $3.1.
Up to. It's surprising to me. I'm not sure the
They have Edwards, Dobbins.
They have Dobbins and Gus Edwards, yeah, which is a pretty darn good tandem. Maybe they just didn't want to be caught where they've been, out of all running backs, and so maybe he's here to provide a little veteran stewardship. But, I mean, Gus Edwards can do that. And Gus Edwards was fine once he came back last year.
Well, and Dobbins is in year 4, isn't he? He's the same age as Fields.
Yeah, that feels right.
So I guess he's in year 3.
Dobbins, let's see.
Dobbins, Fields, and Chase Young were all Heisman finalists at the same time.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so he's year 3.
I don't understand. That surprises me that the Ravens would do that. Melvin Gordon, by the way, puts the ball on the ground a lot, which is why he got ushered out of Denver last year. They basically cut him in the middle of the season. So here's what you had last year. Dobbins played 8 games. So he was a rookie in 2020, missed all of 21, played 8 games last year, ran for 520 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5.7 yards a carry, which is pretty darn good. They got Gus Edwards as well, and obviously Lamar. Now they're talking about they're going to throw the ball a lot more, and that I was reading something today coming out of Baltimore. It said Zay Flowers is the best receiver on their roster, period, already. But Gus Edwards last year ran for 433 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry. I mean, Kenyon Drake ran for 482. Maybe they just feel like we got to have these guys on the roster. I'm surprised about Melvin Gordon.
What do you think Todd does with that offense?
I mean, my guess is he's going to spread people out a little bit more than we're used to seeing with them. Like, where does Patrick Ricard, how does he fit into a Todd Monken offense? That I don't know.
We never got to see it here. We never got to see Todd's offense here.
No.
It was Freddie's offense, which was an amalgamation of some parts of Todd's, but some of the other Todd's.
Yeah.
So we never really got to see it. We saw it at Georgia where he was brilliant, borderline brilliant. Week in and week out with Stetson Bennett. But I am curious to see what he does, what his approach will be. I'm sure you're right that it will be to spread it out, but they have a glut of backs. They're not Flowers is already their best receiver. That's good news from the Flowers standpoint, but I don't love that receiving room much. Andrews is great, obviously.
Andrews is great.
But I'm curious to see what all that looks like with him there. I have more questions about them. It feels like a lot of people have, like, we'll talk
rubber
about this
stamped that they're elite.
Right. They get rubber stamped elite, and we're like on the outside looking in on all of it. And I understand it. I get it. I just think like the rosters, I like our roster better, but maybe that's orange and brown colored glasses.
So Melvin Gordon last year, 318 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3.5 yards a carry, and he fumbled the ball 10. I don't know, but your point about he fumbled 5 times, as a matter of fact. That's a lot. He's fumbled at least 3 times in 4 straight seasons, 4, 4, 3, and 5. That's a lot of fumbles. So I don't quite get that move, especially because I do think that they're a team that is going to try to spread it out a little more, try to throw it a little bit more, put, Bateman, Flowers, Odell out there with Andrews, and then Dobbins and Lamar, and say, okay, how are you going to really deal with all of this and the space that we create? So that's what I think they're going to do. I don't know. I'm with you. I do think it's a change. I think part of what made them so effective was the offense that they ran. I also think it was part of what made them have to operate in a particular game script.
Yes, they're very specific.
And I think that one of the goals, obviously, in what they're doing is to make sure that they don't have to operate in that particular game script. And so can Lamar do that? And if the answer is yes, they're going to be very dangerous, because if you start spreading people out, you can play man with a spy, or you're going to be in zone.
Yep.
Because you can't just turn your back to him and run with everybody, and because then he's going to kill you out of the pocket. Mm-hmm. So he could be very dangerous. I mean, Lamar Jackson is worth 8 points a game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I actually think that Beckham going there makes sense for Beckham, because Lamar isn't necessarily like you need to be here exactly here at this time.
A lot more freelancing.
It's a lot more free. We saw that with Deshaun last year here, where it took some time for our guys to get used to that. When a play isn't over, he breaks pocket, you need to redirect a route. Odell will thrive in that if him and Lamar can get on the same page. It's just been a long time since Odell was great. but it feels like there's a lot more faith in them returning to what they were 3 years ago than it is faith that a healthy Deshaun Watson with a full offseason.
Nobody wants to talk about Deshaun Watson.
I know. We said it
That's
yesterday.
why.
Yeah, I get it. This was one of the most cunning plays I have seen. Josh Harris's group rubber stamped. It's done. They've got the Washington football team. Anytime Josh Harris or his group, and they've been the known purchaser for months now, at least 3 months, anytime that they were talked about or anytime they were asked about this purchase, one of the topics that would come up is the branding of this particular entity, being the Washington football team. And every time that they were asked this question, Harris would deflect or say, we're not even there. We're not thinking about that. I'd be shocked if there was a name change. We had John Keim on. I can't remember if you were on with me or if I was doing it by myself that day, but we had John on who covers Washington. And we were like, is there anything? He's like, no, there's really no momentum to move, from either ownership group. There's no momentum to change the name. Like, they'll just stay with what it is. And every time you and I would say, my God, just make this so. It's a split second. You can wash your hands of Dan Snyder entirely with this, immediately become ingratiated with the fan base even more than you already are.
Yep.
And so what happens? Yesterday it gets rubber stamped, and by last night, it's already, we're going to change the name.
Yeah, Magic Johnson's out there talking about it. Yeah.
So
of course they are.
Of course they're going to change the name.
And get rid of Major Tutty.
Yeah, they're going to get rid of all of that.
Red Hogs, let's go.
Red
Make
Hogs
it happen.
is so great. You could do. There's a lot of ways you could go, but I think Red Hogs is the best. But yeah, so they're going to do that. The other thing, the NFL slapped Snyder with a $60 million fine walking out the door. I will say, for a guy who got $6 billion, $60 million is what the equivalent. It's 1%.
1%.
Yeah. So you got a 1% situation there. So for context, if you had $600 and I find you $6, that's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if there was because one of the other things that was found out with this reporting, and this was all done at the same time as the sale, is that not only was he stealing from players, he was stealing from other owners. Yeah. This guy was. It's the most derelict ownership of a sports team in the history of this country.
Where else? Derelict in many regards.
On 1,000 levels.
On 1,000 levels, and yet, as the owner, he bought in at $900 million and cashed out after complete incompetence
for 25
and really
years.
Corporate malfeasance
on every level.
On every level, and cashed out at $6 billion.
Fraud, sexual harassment, just a litany.
Everything
you could do, and still made 400%.
$1 billion.
It's the NFL, baby.
To $6 billion.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. And they have no stadium situation, and they're poorly branded, and they've sucked for 25 years off of what was. Someone asked me this morning, they said, how would you, because they're younger kids, they were like, how would you describe like what the Washington Redskins were? Like what would be the similar thing of this? Would this be like if somebody did this to the Celtics for 25 years? And I said, no, I think to me it would be like if somebody, because the then Washington Redskins, they weren't the 49ers, they weren't the Steelers, they weren't the Cowboys, they weren't that level. They were a rung below it. I said, to me, it kind of felt like if somebody did it to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
Where they'd always won, not at the highest level, but close, and it was a baseball town. Washington was a football town of record.
Yeah.
For sure. So that's the one I used. I used the Cardinals.
I like
St. Louis
that.
Cardinals is my doppelganger.
I think that's a good comp. I was trying to think of somebody in the association. Because they were never even at the same height as the Bulls. So
no, and it wasn't.
Bulls.
And also the Bulls are kind of just Jordan.
Yeah.
There really isn't. Like prior to Jordan, I don't think Chicago's an NBA town. After Jordan, I don't think they've been an NBA town. Like it was basically just the Jordan window. I don't know where it would be where it was. Maybe it was like Golden State or something like that.
But Portland never won it.
But Golden State always showed up.
Yeah.
Like it was always known as a great basketball
town.
town. Or maybe like if the Knicks, if they won more, if they won a little more.
Yeah. The Spurs won too much and are too small of a town.
Too small. Yeah, Washington was a major market, and they were. You could not.
It's our nation's capital.
You could not get tickets.
It's our nation's
back
capital.
in those days.
Yeah.
To them at all. All right, coming up next, ESPN's Dan Graziano, our guy, Lewis Riddick and Seth Walder, all these guys are kind of our guys. They rank futures of all NFL teams. I'm shocked at where they have us. We will get to that, among other things, coming up
Preds.
next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballard Bet. Sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Dan Graziano's our guy. All right, before we get into this, have you looked at this yet at all? Because purposefully you weren't. No, I've not. You're not. There
No,
you go.
I have not
Yeah,
looked
no,
at
you're
it.
not. All right. If you were to do your top 5 NFL franchises based on how they are going to be in 23, 24, and 25, and this is the breakdown, just so you're aware, there's 5 categories that they weighted. 30% of the weight went to the overall roster.
Okay.
20% of the weight went to the quarterback. The draft was 15% of the weight. The front office was 15% of the weight. And the coaching was 20% of the weight.
Okay.
So they have coaching the same as quarterback, which I think that's
Absurd.
that's disproportionate. Quarterback should be
And by the way,
significantly
our
more.
guy was the coach of the year in 2020
yeah.
in the NFL.
You wouldn't know it by these rankings.
Okay.
All right, so I've led you so you know we're disrespected here, but just throw that out of it.
Okay.
Don't go where you think they would put it. How would you have the top 5 in the league over the next 3 years?
So I've got 8.
Give them to me.
Kansas City,
Yep.
Philly,
Mm-hmm.
Cincy,
Yep.
the Niners, us,
Okay.
Jacksonville,
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo,
Mm-hmm.
and the Chargers.
Okay. Who would you have won?
Kansas City.
Same. And the reason for that is they have Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. The Jets could be, I don't know, 3 years. I don't know if you're getting 3 years out of Rodgers.
I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah. So they would be in the mix as well.
Yeah. I would have Kansas City 1 as well on this list. I would have Cincinnati 2 on this list, and then then it becomes probably Philly 3rd. And the only reason that I don't have Philly higher is because I think Burrow and Mahomes are more proven and better than Hurts. Right? Hurts has to stack it.
What I'm curious about,
Their roster's crazy though.
one thing that is very good, and we'll see how that roster is able to maintain now that Hurts has been paid.
Yeah.
Kansas City's done it. Mahomes already paid. There is going to be some type of a seismic shift one way or the other. Oh man, about to lose all my greens.
Look at all those greens in there. You got to keep those babies safe.
Yeah, those are.
That's your whole operation.
I know it's almost time to get those greens going again, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Cincy, I don't believe, and I know you talked to a lot more people down there.
Yeah.
I find it hard to believe that they are going to be able to keep Burrow, Chase, and T. Higgins. I think it's a given that they will be keeping Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
I don't believe they'll be able to keep all 3. And
It
then,
feels almost, and also like Logan Wilson. Like
so then where does that, what do they actually
they
look
pay?
like?
Yeah.
Because they're going to be paying, Justin Jefferson's about to set that market, and Jamar Chase is going to want to beat that when he comes up. And Burrow is, like, people don't take the notion of a hometown discount. I mean, maybe to some extent you can do that.
Yeah, Brady did that. The Mannings always made
Later.
sure that they were the highest paid.
Yes.
Brady did some discounts in New England until the end.
And it felt like Brady at that point was so established as being the GOAT that he had so much in marketing,
Yeah.
and they did a lot of, his cap number was never that bad, but they did a lot of creative. He was
I think he's taken care of.
very well compensated.
Yeah.
Yes. So I just don't know what that team is going to look like actually in a couple of years.
I think one of the most amazing things that Kansas City did this before they paid Mahomes, and then they did it after they paid Mahomes. They did it while they had Tyreek Hill. They did it the year they traded Tyreek Hill. Last year for them should have been kind of a build.
A reset.
Yeah, it was a reset. It was, now we have to pay people. This is what this team looks like now. No Tyrann Mathieu, no Tyreek Hill, no, and they won it. So that, to me, I would have had them 1 because that's Mahomes.
Yep.
That's what that's all about. So they have Philly 1
What?
on this list. So the way that this breaks down is 100% obviously is elite. It's a grading schedule. Very good is B, 80 and up. C is 70 and up, and so forth and so on. So Philly gets a 94.1 grade for them. They have the number 1 roster, the number 4 quarterback. Now, I don't think if you're redrafting the NFL, Jalen Hurts isn't going 4th.
No.
Coaching, they have 7.
He's going in the top
10.
8 to 10. Yeah, for sure. Top 7 maybe.
Draft 2, front office 1.
Okay.
But I think that they don't have quarterback weighted properly here. I think quarterback deserves even more than 20%.
I would
It is
agree with
20%.
that.
It needs to be more.
It does also remain to be seen. You know, when you're a successful organization like them, I love their front office. I think that's spot on. I think their overall roster right now is as good as anybody's.
Yes, it's
I think it's probably the number one roster period in the NFL. The coaching staff, maybe it's not a big deal for Nick Sirianni, but when you lose your defensive coordinator and your offensive coordinator, and I think Sirianni was really the offensive coordinator, but when you lose like your top 2 assistants, sometimes that matters. Sometimes that
darn right it matters.
Plays a role. So
yeah,
I'm curious to see how they go, but from a roster standpoint and the fact that I think perhaps part of the waiting from them that they wouldn't say out loud could be that the path to being that team in the NFC consistently is a lot easier than the path to doing it every year in the AFC.
Infinitely.
Yeah.
As you're going to about ready to hear. So Kansas City's 2, no beef with that. They have Cincinnati 3 on the list.
Okay.
The lowest Cincinnati is on anything is coaching at 7. Overall roster 3, quarterback 2, draft 5, front office 5.
Okay.
Quarterback or coach 7. They have the Baltimore Ravens 4th.
What?
Yeah.
Based on what?
They have them tied for 4th. So their overall roster they have as a 6. I don't think it's the 6th best roster in the NFL.
No.
They have the quarterback as a 5. I don't think Lamar Jackson is the 5th quarterback in the NFL. The coaching is a 3. The draft is an 8, and the front office is a 2. So they have Baltimore tied for 4th. They're tied for 4th with Buffalo. Buffalo Bills are 4th. We have them there. That's fine. At number 6, they have the Seattle Seahawks. They have they go Geno as 12 quarterback.
Okay.
Coaching is 17. Overall roster is 11. But draft, because they have so much draft capital from all the Russell stuff, is 1. The front office is 4. So there's 6.
Okay.
Pittsburgh Steelers are 7.
Okay.
9 overall roster, 22 on quarterback, 3 on coaching, 9 on draft.
Then you
7
can't
on
be
front office.
you can't be there.
You
if you're
can't be there if you have the
quarterback.
22 quarterback. So that's what I'm saying. They have this is weighted wrong.
Yes.
Jacksonville is 8.
Okay.
49ers 8. Both of those are tied for 8.
All right.
Cowboys 10.
Okay.
Lions 11.
Okay.
Dolphins 12.
Okay.
Chargers 13.
Chargers 13.
Chargers 13.
Why?
28 coaching.
Okay.
So, but 20% is coaching, which that's overvalued.
It's not the same as the quarterback.
Not the same as the quarterback. No, not at all.
Ask Bill Belichick and Tom Brady right now.
Green Bay Packers 14. They have the quarterback 25. Overall roster 18. The draft they're 4, so they have draft assets apparently. But Green Bay is on this list at 14.
All right, where are
the
we?
New York Jets are 15 on this list.
Okay.
The New England Patriots are 16 on this list. And coming in tied for 17 with the New York Football Giants are your Cleveland Browns.
We're behind the Patriots?
That's right.
Okay.
So they have us 11th overall roster.
Everybody, their own people at ESPN have us in the top 10. 8th, 7th, 9th.
They have Deshaun as the 14th quarterback in the league.
Okay.
Coaching 20.
Okay.
Draft 29.
Coaching's the whole staff.
It's the whole staff.
So Bubba Ventrone, who's elite, Jim
all
Schwartz
of it.
elite, kept in. Okay.
Draft 29. So that's
we
probably
don't have
lack
a first
of draft,
round
no draft
pick.
capital.
Only one more year.
Yeah. And front office 12. 17th on the futures rankings.
You know what this is? Meaningless. Let's go play football games. This is like look.
It's what I talked about
for the sake
yesterday.
of content.
It's
and
fun.
Nobody
These are
wants
fun.
to talk about it. Is fun.
These are fun.
That's outrageous.
It's great sports talk radio. This is fun stuff. It's fun for fans to talk about. It goes to what I talked about yesterday. People are unwilling to have a real conversation around us or Watson because of what happened last year. And so it's easier to just say, oh, yeah, they're like New England.
Yes.
And the reality is that those two operations are in no way similar.
Yeah.
Not over the next 3 years.
No. And basically what they're saying, too, is, and this is the one thing, look, I use these things kind of directionally speaking. 4 of their top 17 teams are all in our division. 3 of their top 7, is that what you said, are in our division, and it really should
3
be
of the top 7, yeah.
It should be Bengals. If you want to put the Ravens ahead of us, that's fine, but we should be in the very same area as them. We haven't done it. That's the problem. Here's the other thing. If you had everything that was on our roster,
Right.
and you had the talent of Deshaun Watson, but his name was Bob Schmohawk, and we were the Cleveland Schmohawks, nobody would look at us because they see that logo and that name, which has unfortunately been synonymous with a lack of success.
Mm-hmm.
And we have the most non-playoff appearances since 2010. We have the most last place finishes in your division since 2000. All of these things.
Yeah.
And it's really since 99. That colors the conversation as well.
But that
and
shouldn't
every
be-
time, though, anytime somebody gives us hype,
Right.
the Browns do not make that person look good that season.
No,
so
all true. All of that's true. But here's the issue I have with what you just described, because what you just described is an emotional connection, right? It's the emotion that people have with the logo or with Deshaun. This is supposed to be empirical.
But it's not.
This is supposed to be
because they're humans,
right. So it's subjective.
Of course.
But it's there's just no way that this roster, this setup is to that. You got to go prove it. I get it. Everybody understands it. But I thought that was funny.
It's absurd, is what it is.
Yeah,
it's completely absurd. But we have to.
We have shown year in and year out an ability to be incredibly cap nimble, to be incredibly creative with trades. It's nuts to be in that spot. But then anyway, that's where it is. Let's go do it.
We could easily,
We should
when
be
they
grouped
do this
at
again,
the very least, grouped with Pittsburgh and Baltimore in a vicinity
Yes.
with them.
Yes.
You want to have Cincinnati ahead, fine, but then the next group, those 3 teams should be in a 6-slot area.
Yes.
Like if you wanted to have us 11 or 12, fine. Okay, fine. 17 behind New
Steelers
England,
7.
tied with the Giants. They didn't weigh quarterback enough is the reality of it. That's
No,
that's
but
really
that
what
wouldn't
it is.
even have helped us in their rankings that he's 14.
No, but they
Like,
don't.
you mean tell me
Nobody
if-
knows what to do with. Dan Dimes is 1 spot below Watson. In
15?
This. 2
or-
is
or
better.
13.
2 is 12.
Here's what I'm saying. If the league were disbanded
Yeah.
and everybody got to draft everybody at their exact current age and all of that right now, Deshaun Watson is not the 14th quarterback that's drafted.
No, he's not. He's
Period.
Definitely is not. No. Yeah, they had 2 at 12 on this. All right, second hour of the program. Oh, the home state.
Yeah. Come on in, Scarlett.
Come on in, Scarlett. All right, final hour of the week. Coming up next, we'll get you set on the safeties. Have a little fun with the top wide receivers that we've had Z guess. We will do all of that. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Cleveland Browns 2023 schedule is here. Get your single game tickets now for all the great matchups at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/tickets to make your purchase today.
I don't know why that tickled me. Maybe that's what I'll do. I won't touch the mic anymore. I'm just going to woo, and then we'll know if I'm up or not. Gibby, I love that.
He'll love that.
Yeah, he's going to be really pumped about that. You're welcome.
I do like how all of his ills would be solved with just a light.
Yes.
We actually had a light at one point. I think we still have one around here
we
somewhere.
do, but it's not actually linked to the mics.
It's not hooked to the mics. Like,
Correct.
we have to turn it off and on. We are very appreciative of the light people who supplied it.
Yes.
But also, like, we would need engineering in here to connect it to the actual mic,
Yes,
so
it's
that
from
when
the
they
great
were
Jane
on,
who gave us that light.
they would get that all sorted
Jane
out.
and her husband.
Yeah, it was very good.
It just makes it easy. It would just make our lives easier. I think.
Do you remember
he
one
likes
of my 5 favorite things that ever happened on this show was when we described to Hoff that Gibbe tries to make our life harder?
Yeah. He's like, what?
What are you talking?
What are you talking about?
How's it possible?
That's not his job. His job's to make your life easier.
No,
Not.
Opposite.
He couldn't believe it. Couldn't get his head around it.
Couldn't do it. No.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue our countdown to training camp, which is tomorrow. Positional previews. Let's do the safeties, good sir, Dr. Z.
All right. So as you know, one big change in the safety room from a year ago. Actually, 2 big changes. John Johnson is out. Ronnie Harrison is out. And in comes Juan Thornhill and Rodney McLeod, joining the returning Grant Delpit. Delpit last year, breakout season for him. 4 interceptions, team high. 10 passes defense, 3rd on the team behind only Denzel and MJ Emerson. 105 tackles. That was a team high. So he led the team in tackles, led the team in interceptions, was 3rd in passes defense. He was all over the field, played the whole year, got better as the season went on. I think he had a pick. 3 of his picks came in the last quarter of the season. I think Grant Delpit, we got a star in the making. Juan Thornhill, a guy who's been around the league, knows what it takes to get it done. Been with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. He brings that fire, that attitude, and that know-how, I think, of what it takes, and also the confidence. So much of it is confidence. So much of anything in life is confidence. Do you believe that you're going to get it done? And Juan Thornhill is a guy who certainly comes in with a lot of belief. 8 career interceptions, coming off a tie for his career high last year with 3 picks. Also set a career high with 1 sack, 9 passes defensed, and 71 tackles, and 4 tackles for loss. So he's coming off of basically a career year as the Super Bowl champion safety of the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And then Rodney McLeod. And I don't think that it is possible to overstate this signing. I don't think it's getting a ton of headlines. It's not being talked about a lot. And we will be a 2-safety team primarily. I get that. But Rodney McLeod is an excellent veteran who has been around this league for a very, very long time, still is playing at an unbelievably high level. Last year started every game for Indianapolis. He knows Jim Schwartz's defense, and he gives that kind of coach on the field as well as the flexibility to play some of those 3 safety looks. And I talked about yesterday, do we play a big dime package where you've got Thornhill, McLeod, and Delpit out there with MJ, Denzel, and Greg Newsome? And I think that certainly is in play. And so I, for one, am excited to see that. But I think Rodney McLeod really has a chance to be a very valuable role player and also a very valuable just member, mentor, leader on this defense. And so those are your top 3. Then you're going to have battling it out D'Anthony Bell, who was on your team a year ago as an undrafted free agent. Didn't play a ton on the defensive side of the ball, but he will be competing and trying to hold off, I think, the pair of Buckeyes, because Tanner McAllister they have working as a safety now, and Ronnie Hickman as well. So I think that's what you're looking at. I think you have 3 locks, and then you have a battle for that 4th safety spot, and special teams will go a long way, and D'Anthony Bell's a very good special teams player. So he has the advantage, obviously, having been here. So D'Anthony Bell is probably the leader in the clubhouse, but he will be battling. I think Hickman probably gives him the biggest challenge coming out of the Ohio State University.
So we had 5 going into week 1 this year.
Last season,
yeah.
we had 5.
That's what Browns kept 5 going into week 1 last year.
I'm trying to think who the 5th was.
Me too. These are Gibby's notes.
D'Anthony Bell, Ronnie Harrison, Grant Delpit, and John Johnson. Rich LeCount.
Oh, Rich LeCount.
Rich LeCount.
It had to be a Rich LeCount.
Well, he was gone by week 4, but yeah, I could see Richard LeCount.
Yeah, that would be it. I'm almost, yeah.
The young man out of Georgia, who is, I believe,
He's with the Ramets.
He's with the Ramets.
Yeah, just Ramit.
Well, it's good that I'm happy that he's still in the league. Good player. Georgia had that, obviously, that unfortunate motorcycle accident. I think we keep 4 here, would be my guess.
Well, we have to because we've added at defensive line.
We're going to need more defensive line to play the rotations the way that
So
Jim
you're going to
Schwartz
have
wants.
to pull from somewhere.
That's right.
I think obviously we have talked about the double deuce for a long time with Grant Delpit and showed certainly signs last year of being the player that we thought he was upon drafting. Of course, missed that entire first season when he looked so good as a rookie, and then missed that whole season with injury. One of the most, still to this day, one of the craziest injury things ever. Just so freak.
That was
The whole thing. It was like, wait, what? He's out for the year?
Out for the year, just catching a little pass. He's out for the year, and then Greedy suffered his injury all at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah. Very sad. Very sad. That was a crazy day. Not a fun one.
If he can be what he was drafted to be, this is the thing here with this
you
back
and I
seven.
Were big on him. Yeah.
We were huge on him.
Yeah.
This is the thing with this back seven. Denzel is who he is. Newsome, Emerson, JOK, Delpit. That group has got to go from good, solid good. A couple of them need to get to great. And there needs to be consistent good out of all of them. They need to be real pros, all of them.
And they need
be
to be
difference makers.
Taking the football away, interceptions.
Yeah.
So we're talking about going from that group on that back seven, going from 4 picks for Delpit, 3 for Denzel Ward, none for Emerson, none for Greg Newsome. You had, John Johnson. John Johnson had 1, which was the one against Houston. So we had as a team last year, we had a total of 11 picks as a team. 4 for Delpit, 1 for John Johnson, that's 5. 3 for Denzel, that's 8. Tony Fields had 1. Deion Jones had 1. A.J. Green had 1. That's your 11. We need to have that just from the secondary room alone.
Yeah.
Secondary room alone. Delpit, McLeod, Thornhill, MJ, Newsome, Denzel, A.J. Green. Those 7 guys right there need to have on their own 11, 12, 14 picks. Okay. They need to be difference makers. And there should be opportunities because if we are who we're supposed to be, that means we are going to have some leads and we are going to have a hellacious pass rush. You're going to be playing more man with and safeties are going to be, single high, one guy coming down and robbing, having an opportunity to pick the football off. That's what we have to do. This group and this safety room, it's our best trio that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to go ahead and deliver on their promise, which is they have the ability to be very, very good. That safeties and corners, difference makers, game wreckers.
It's got to happen. Got to happen. We'll do Z's best guess of the top 10 wide receivers in football coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. We have been doing this for the last couple of weeks. ESPN's top 10 positional rankings as put together by Jeremy Fowler, but as voted on by the league's coaches, general managers, and scouts. We are at the wide receiver position.
This one's impossible. It's impossible. I've got
too many.
I think I have. I mean, I could have 20 names that I think are have legit. At least 18 that have legit cases.
Is this the best the wide receiver position has ever been in the sport?
Yes, I would say so. All right, I'm gonna.
Is this also? Did I run this by you? Will there come a point relatively soon where the wide receiver position gets viewed kind of how the running back position is?
Nope.
You don't think?
I don't. I do not think so. I think
that there's too much of it.
Yeah, there's 3 of them on the field. There's 3 of them.
Yeah, well, that part's true.
So,
but I wonder if we will get to a point where you're just not going to pay guys because it's just easier to go draft another guy.
I think it's hard to find like the true guys. I mean, I don't
know. Is it though? Like, you just said you had 20. I mean, and how many of those feel like they're ones? I mean, I just wrote down their top 10 so I didn't have to keep dealing with this from a website standpoint.
Okay.
And every single guy in the top 10, I promise you, thinks they're a 1. And every single honorable mention, with the exception of 1, probably thinks they're a 1.
All right.
Like a number 1 receiver. Dude.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. All right, here's what I'm going to give you. This is what I got for you.
Go ahead.
Oh, man, God dang, that's another one.
See, there's so many.
All right. So I'm going to give you my top 10 and see if I nail the top 10. All right. Justin Jefferson.
Yep.
Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Devontae Adams.
Hold on. Hill was 4th on their list.
4th?
Yep.
All right.
Jefferson
Devontae
was
Adams.
1. Adams was 2.
A.J. Brown.
Yeah, he was 7.
Cooper Kupp.
He was 5.
Jamar Chase.
He was 3.
Stephon Diggs.
6.
Now it's here. This is where I think it gets tricky. Deebo Samuel.
He was honorable mention.
What? All right. C.D. Lamb.
He was 10.
Mike Evans.
He was honorable mention.
He is so overlooked. So that's what I thought. Maybe they go, does Amon-Ra St. Brown make it onto the top 10?
He does not.
He does not. How many do I have? So I need how many more?
You're done. You're out.
I know I'm out, but I'm saying how many more do I need?
2 more. You got 8 of the 10.
That's
wild. 8 out of 10.
Mike Evans is not a top 10.
Nor is Deebo Samuel.
That's crazy. Jalen Waddle?
Nope.
T. Higgins?
Nope. Both honorable mentions.
DK Metcalf?
Yep. 8.
Devontae Smith?
Nope.
Garrett Wilson?
Nope.
Garrett Wilson, no. Devontae Smith, okay. Amari?
Nope.
Chris Olave?
Nope.
Godwin?
Nope.
Terry McLaurin?
Yep. He was 9. So,
and then you have DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams.
So this, in a way, this kind of goes to the point I'm making, that there are like 21s.
Right, but to feel like awesome about it, you want to have 2 of them.
For sure.
So that's 64 guys.
Oh, if every team, but what I'm saying is that you're getting 5 guys, it feels like, in every draft that could come in and go.
Could.
Like
they
a
don't
lot
all
of them
pan out, though.
No, but a lot of them do. Like, and the impact they have is immediate in a lot of instances.
They do, yeah.
Like, if you think about this run we're in with that's Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, all those Alabama receivers, these Ohio State kids that are coming through.
Judy hasn't
Harrison.
necessarily been what you expected.
No.
Henry Ruggs is not in the league anymore, obviously.
No. But Waddle is, Devonta Smith is.
Sure.
Like, I mean, there's been
Rager
so
was a
much
first-round
talent that has come into the league at the position in the last 5
But you need
years.
it.
You do. You want it.
You
certainly want it.
Team wants 3.
For sure. I think it's becoming easier to do it in the draft. There was 20 years ago, Randy Moss, like a receiver at the top, there'd be 1 or 2 first-round picks that were receiver. Now there's 6 because you're playing so many more of them. But I also think so many more great athletes are being steered to the receiver position.
Agreed.
That there's an influx, a glut of absurd talent. The guys there's guys we didn't even name that are awesome. For sure.
Yeah.
Like, here's the others receiving vote. You mentioned Amon St. Brown. You mentioned Olave, Calvin Ridley, Cooper. You mentioned Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen. You mentioned DJ Moore. You mentioned DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Godwin. The honorable mention. A lot of we mentioned. There's 30 names here, 30-some names here.
Yeah,
that are all dudes.
Yeah,
most of them.
Yeah, I think that your point of that more people are going to be playing receiver. That does make sense, but the game is going to be. It's not going to become less pass oriented as we go into the future.
No,
the rules are certainly skewed in its favor, and so you're gonna the Bengals are a perfect example of it. They're going to have to choose which one of the guys they pay and then who they try to continue and load up in the draft to put alongside him. So they're going to choose to pay Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to pay T. Higgins. T. Higgins easily, when Jamar Chase was out last year, T. Higgins was number
T. Higgins is a one
wide receiver.
He is a one.
All right, so I want to pull up the games that Chase missed. If I can pull up those, because I bet it's pretty obvious in his game logs. I bet I don't even need to ask you which ones he missed. All right, so T. Higgins last year, I think it was after the New Orleans game he was out, and he was out He played in the New Orleans game. He played
on a Thursday night.
And then he played Atlanta, and they didn't play us. We were the first one that he missed, right?
Or did he play against us?
No, Jamar Chase did not play against us on
so
Monday night.
He played against – yeah. Didn't he hurt it in the Miami game?
It was in the New Orleans game when he, lit them up is when he actually, broke his hip or whatever he did.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, I have Higgins' game logs pulled up.
Yeah.
Once Chase went out, 49 a touchdown against us, 7 for 16, 9 for 148, 7 for 114 and a touchdown. And then he scored basically 4 straight weeks after that. He was – when they needed him to be the guy, he was the guy.
Yeah, for sure. He's a one. I mean, he's
an
absolute one. Let me pull up the Chase.
I'm trying to pull up the game log, see what. Yeah, he missed 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he missed those 5. So that's where Higgins had back-to-back major 100-yard games. He scored 4 touchdowns.
Chase had 87 for 1,046 and 9 touchdowns in 12 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they feed him the ball. To his credit.
They have Boyd, too.
So his targets, 134 targets in 12 games.
Yeah.
His final 4 games, 15, 13, 11, 13. He never had fewer than 6 targets in a game. And he only had fewer than 8 targets in a game once. I mean, that is, you're going to produce when you get that kind of action.
It's a way that what you're seeing with guys like him and Jefferson and Adams, we saw this with, what you're seeing is, kind of like what you used to see with the running back, where we got to get him these kind of touches.
Yep.
Like you have to get these guys are electric. You have to get them these type of touches.
Yep.
You have to direct the ball in their direction this many times in order to have success.
Our game was a beating, so they kind of rained off. So we only had 6 targets, talking about T. Higgins.
Yeah.
And then the next 3 without Chase, he was targeted 30 times. He caught 23 passes for 208, 322 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he's a one.
Yeah. There's 35 ones in the league.
You
gotta have, and you really need 2 to really go, or you need Mahomes, and then you can just have Kelsey.
Yeah.
And do the rest of it the way that you want to do it. It's an embarrassment of riches at the position in the sport. It's never been this good. I promise you that. All right, coming up next, we will get you set with training camp. Final edition. We'll take a look at the specialists. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Backed by popular demand from your favorite four-legged companion, year 2 of Barking Backers presented by Milkbone, the fan club for dogs. View membership options and join today at barkingbackers.com. Specialists? Now,
Woo!
Now you're good.
Yeah, there
now
we
you're
go.
on. There you go.
All right. The specialists. Well, the truth of the matter is we really don't know what this is going to look like. We know a couple of things, right? We know our long snapper will be Charlie Hewlett. He is behind Joel Bitonio as the longest tenured Cleveland Brown. We know that our kicker will be Cade York. And I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, or 90% sure, our punter is going to be Corey Bajorquez. Joseph Charlton is here. He was with us last year. Bajorquez beat him out. Bajorquez had a very nice season for the Cleveland Browns. So it would lead me to believe that he will once again be the punter. So that battery should return for Bubba Ventrone, who is going to kind of let these guys be. Let the kickers kick. Let them, from a technical standpoint, let them do what they do. And I think for a guy like Cade York, I feel like that will be a beneficial thing. And so excited to see how he does. But Bajorquez last year averaged 48.5 yards a punt, 40.5 net. He had a long of 76, 23 inside the 20. And as I thought as the season went on, he got better. Some of that directional punting he did was elite late in the season. Return guys, and this is the question, right? Last year, your top kick returner was Jerome Ford. He had 30 returns for 723 yards, averaged 24 yards a return. 48 was the long. And then you had as your punt returner, Donovan Peoples-Jones at 18 returns for 223 yards, including a touchdown, 76-yarder, one of 3 punt return touchdowns in the league last year. Jakeem Grant was brought here to be that guy. Jakeem Grant was brought here to be the punt returner and kick returner. He was an all-pro. He was a Pro Bowler. He got injured when we had the joint practice with the Eagles, missed the whole season with his Achilles. He is back. Is there a roster spot for a guy who was primarily a returner? I think is a valid question.
Yeah.
Do they think Jakeem Grant can maybe do some of the vertical things that a Marquise Goodwin does? Is David Bell maybe fighting for a roster spot if Jakeem Grant is deemed more valuable? He was a third-round pick a year ago, so I'd find that very, very hard to believe that he would not be on this roster. I mean, I kind of look at my 6 locks at the receiver position, and I feel like they really, truly are 6 locks.
Yep.
Cooper, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Elijah Moore, Goodwin, Tillman, David Bell. Could there be 7? Maybe. That's where Jakeem Grant is looking. I think Jalen Darden is lurking, and he's a guy who returns some kicks as well. But that's it. Who are your returners? I think those are the biggest questions going into the 2023 season.
What do you how close you be watching Bubba Ventrone and his operation?
I love Bubba. You walked by earlier. I'm a big Bubba Ventrone guy. Obviously, we loved Preef, great friend of our program, and certainly wish him nothing but the absolute best. And I'm going to miss him. But I've liked Bubba so far. Our opportunity to talk with Bubba, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. And our special teams units have always been solid. We need them to be solid to even better than that. And I think a lot of that is going to come down to, how we do kicking. I really think Cade York and his performance is going to determine a lot of how we feel about special teams. Can't give up any of those big returns. You can't have what happened against Baltimore last year, but we did have a big return against the Houston Texans that helped us get that win. So I think, I'm going to be watching it. What I'm really going to be watching is who is there on the first and second teams to try to get an idea of, when they go in and make their case, well, this guy's, to Andrew Berry and company, well, this guy gives us an edge on special teams. That's one of the things that I think we will be looking at.
He's like a human shot of Red Bull.
Bubba?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it. This is what he did.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
You've got to be a little bit crazy to go after it and get after it as a special teams guy, which he did. That's how he made his career in the National Football League, and now he's been a coach and was presided over incredibly successful special teams units there with the Indianapolis Colts. He had a couple guys brought in that he knew in Matthew Adams, Mike Ford. So I think our special teams unit will continue to be very good, and I think the goal is obviously to have it be elevated somewhat from years past. And I think for a lot of us, that's it's easy as a fan. It's much easier to digest, especially with the rule changes. How Cade kicks. I think that's going to have a lot to do with ultimately how we feel about this football team and how we feel about the special teams unit on this football team.
Yeah, it's interesting, like how you go back to at the start. You think about that winner he hit against Carolina. You think about like what happened, what you would see in pregame with Cade.
70 yards
Just
against the Bears.
Craziest stuff ever. And you just need him to be who he was drafted to be.
Right. And so what you're looking for there, right, is consistency. That's the name of the game when you're a kicker. He was 24 of 32 last year as a kicker. That's 75%.
Not going to do it.
No, the elite guys are in the 90-95%. Justin Tucker is way up there, right? So when you look at it from that standpoint, you say to yourself, okay, where can we get better? And we started off on field goals, started off really hot, 4 for 4 against the Carolina Panthers. He started off making his first 8 kicks, but he missed an extra point against the Jets, which obviously proved to be a big one late. He then missed an extra point the following week against the Steelers. And then against the Chargers, he missed both field goal attempts. In a game where that obviously could have mattered for us. He missed a game-winning attempt against the Baltimore Ravens. He missed another one against the Bengals, but we ended up winning that game handily. He missed against the Buffalo Bills in a game where that could have mattered. He missed one against Tampa. We fortunately were able to win that one. He missed 2 against Baltimore in our 13-3 win over the Ravens, where obviously points were at a premium. So it's that consistency from Cade York is what I think we're really, really looking for.
And we saw it in the division, and you see with the difference maker that it is. So that's the tricky part of that. You want some Ask CBD stuff I got for you?
Yeah, we got some Ask. Let's do it.
I've scoured a few of these.
One thing just real quickly.
Yep.
So Cade last year, you break it down, 5 of 5 from 20 to 29, 9 of 12 from 30 to 39, 75% from 30 to 39, not good enough. That's got to be 100%. Anything inside of 40 yards, that's got to be automatic.
Those got to go, man.
Those have to go. So he's got to get better there. 6 of 8 from 40. You'd like it. You can live with that, but you'd like a little better. And then 4 of 7 from 50. Again, you want to tighten that up a little bit as well. And then on the extra points, he missed 2 on the season. Those got to be automatic. And I know it's not the same old extra point. It's really a 30-yard field goal. But his 30-yard field goals need to match up with that, which is 95%.
Here's what you want out of a kicker. Don't ever think about him like 90% of the time.
Yep.
Like, don't worry about extra points. All the chip shot
That's
field
just
goals,
automatic.
Those are all automatic. And then make half of the ones that are the critical ones. And if you make 80% of the critical ones, then you're elite. Make more than half, and then that's all that the
now we're cooking with gas.
Is.
Yep.
Now you're going a little bit. The Buckeyes, going all. It's a big uniform week.
Yeah,
we have a lot of them. So the NFL ones were throughout today. I think the Oilers one is dropping this weekend.
Okay.
Did you see J.J. Watt saying it makes him sad, and they were like clapping back at him, and he's like, "Dude, I played in Houston. Those uniforms mean so much to Houston."
Yes, he's right.
Why are you wearing them? He's exactly right. It's a correct beep. It's the damnedest thing what they're doing there.
It's absurd.
The Sack Exchange ones are coming, I think, next week. The Jets ones from the Gastineau era.
Yeah, those will be good.
Yeah, those are not as good as the Namaths, but the
Namaths are the best.
The Namaths are the best,
Chad
but those are good. Pennington wore them as well. The Namaths almost seemed like they were a brighter green, whereas when Pennington and those guys were there, it was a darker, almost a forest.
I agree with that. Almost.
Who else are we? There's a couple more we're waiting on out there.
I'm waiting for
apparently the Broncos are going to go all white. They're not doing what everybody wants and wearing the Elways. I don't know why the heck you wouldn't wear the Elways, but it sounds like I saw this morning that they were going to go with like some sort of an all-white helmet, an all-white uniform.
All-white helmet?
Yeah, a white helmet and with a whiteout look.
They need to go back to that logo?
Of course, the whole thing.
All
Reset.
of it.
Go back. Yeah. There's a couple more. There's one more out there.
I don't know.
I can't remember what it is, but the Buckeyes are going to wear all
I'm waiting
gray.
for the Colts to fix theirs.
There's no fixing it. It'll be a one and off.
It's awful.
It does seem like the Falcons have punted on their gradient uniforms.
Yes.
Like they're just not going to wear them anymore because they were so poorly received.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I think will happen to this Colts one. Like you'll wear it once and it'll disappear.
It's gone.
And that'll be it. Buckeyes in all gray. So I have long been I don't even know how many non-diehard fans are even aware of this. You probably weren't until I made you aware of it. Ohio State's traditional home uniform that they wear now and have since Jim Tressel changed it in the 2007 season has no gray on it.
Yep.
There's no gray on the jersey.
Nope.
There's a gray pant, there's a gray hat, but there's no gray on the jersey. So they have a red stripe on a red jersey, which
Feels
I've always think
unnecessary.
is stupid, and it reminds me of Wisconsin. So my beef has always been, you have a uniform with gray on the sleeves. It's gorgeous. They wear it for like the national championship game or the college football playoff, those type of things. So I'm always saying, give me some more gray, some more gray. It feels to me like and a lot of the fans want the more gray. So they're going to wear a head-to-toe gray uniform this year against Michigan State.
Yep.
It's their current uniform, just a gray colorway. So they've done this with black, which is fine. I'm not a big black for black's sake, but fine.
It looks good.
It does. Black looks good on everything. It's like a cheat code.
Yeah.
And then the other one they have is an all-white, which I love.
Yeah.
This feels to me like everybody in the fan base says, I would like a bowl of ice cream. And Ohio State said, here's all the ice cream in the world. Eat your way out of it. It's too damn much. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a one-off. They're going to wear it with red shoes, whatever. But I just think they could have solved all of it by just giving the fan base what it wants, which is just the way they're traditionally supposed to look.
Agreed. I think of all the ones that I've seen, this would be I prefer the traditional, the black, the white before the gray. Still not say it's not a cool uniform.
It's fine.
It is, but it's not like, whoa.
Yeah. All right.
Gray needs to be, I think, with a very particular set of colors that really pop. Like I like the Tennessee gray when
they
they wear
have the
those
smoky
grays,
grays.
smoky
Yeah.
grays, and then that orange really pops off of it.
You have it on your shirt you're wearing today. You have the gray polo with the bright orange.
Like we could have a gray alternate that I think could look good. It would
Agreed.
be like it would have to be more of a modern uniform, obviously, but I think it could look good with us.
Well, in fact,
Gray
you
with
almost
orange.
thought that's where we were going.
I was trying.
At one point.
I was lobbying for it.
We were hopeful that's where it was going to go.
That was such a great dark chocolate on that uniform. Such a good uniform.
It was, yeah. Yeah, I think gray is perfect as an accent color.
Yeah.
I think it's really nice. I think obviously looks good with Ohio State. I think it really looks good in the Tennessee or like the way you have it now. Blue and gray is a little bit tougher. The blue's got to go. But yeah, it's a lot of gray. It's a lot of gray from them. Yeah. I got a couple here. My God, Bobby was busy yesterday. Let's make sure we don't double up on any of these. We did that one.
I have a little quick note.
Go ahead.
The Giants are signing wide receiver Cole Beasley, reuniting with Brian Daboll, former offensive coordinator with the Bills, and another veteran target. So if you think about their team, though, they've got a lot of people to potentially be slot receivers there. Wandale Robinson, who they drafted in the second round out of Kentucky last year. They signed Paris Campbell this offseason. They have Jamison Crowder, the veteran slot receiver. They added Cole Beasley, and then they still have Sterling Shepard, who was one of their guys. Those guys are not all making that roster.
No.
Cole Beasley could be being brought in to help kind of maybe help things out.
Yeah. Could be. Here's one from Bobby wants to know what's your favorite viral video.
The lady stomping grapes at Chateau Elan down in Atlanta. That's my favorite.
That's it?
That's it. I've watched that maybe a billion times, and I laugh harder every single time.
Probably.
Like, do you know that one when I say that to you? Do you know exactly
I feel like I haven't
about?
seen it in a very, very long time.
We'll watch it.
We'll watch it in the
and
break.
You're going to love it.
Probably one of the 5 hardest I've ever laughed
Okay.
is the one that went viral of the little dude driving the NASCAR go-kart in downtown Cleveland that's reacting to the car wreck and the play-by-play from the two dudes.
The which one?
Remember the little Valvoline
Like the
go-kart?
little white car.
The
guy's driving around.
The guy's doing
yes,
play-by-play.
yes. That one is very good.
That's
a great Cleveland one.
That one to me is that's so perfect.
I'm
at so many
following
levels.
on Instagram that's like I'm from Cleveland or something like that, and it's all like Cleveland based, either cool things that are going on in Cleveland or viral videos for like forever. Like there was one with a news guy where the guy was giving the news guy a little bit of a hard time, and the news guy went off. And there was some good stuff on there. You would, if you were on the gram, you would have enjoyed it. You'd have enjoyed it.
Yeah, that one was good.
Grape Crush Fault Land. As soon as you type grape into YouTube, it's the first thing
that comes up.
That's
it's
incredible.
Got a billion hits.
That's incredible.
All right. What music are people surprised to learn that you like?
I think I like it all, baby. I like it all. There isn't a kind that I don't like, really. I'm a big Swiftie. I'm not afraid to say it. Partially because my kids, and like when I'm with the kids, they demand. That's all they want.
That's all they
Taylor
want
Swift.
is that. Yeah.
And she has such a complete catalog that, honest to goodness, you
It's
really
so
never even
big
get
that
tired
there's-
of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Like
think
I'd even
I
have
know
a
many
hard
of her
time.
songs.
I think I'd have a hard time putting together like my top 20, not because I couldn't name 20 songs, because there are so many good songs.
I don't think I could name more than 4 of her songs.
Oh baby.
But I think that I find myself gravitating towards like country music now.
Oh god, I got
Which
this
is
here.
which is
Do you
pretty
want to?
wild.
Do you want?
I
It's
have
only
it.
48
Let me
seconds.
give play-by-play.
Do you
I'll
want to
do
give your-
play-by-play while we're on the air?
Perfect.
All right. So I don't know
think
if
it's a
I've
great
seen
idea.
this or if I have. It's been a long, long time.
You definitely.
I feel like I'll know right away. Is okay.
So it's
we
a
have
lady,
Two people
there's
on a
sta-
grapes. They're gonna.
And they're on like
There's
a
a
raised
bucket
up platform.
and they're on a. It looks like they're on a. Okay, they're on a platform
because
like
they
a wooden
stomp the grapes and
platform.
then the juice goes down
Dude,
to the
I've
buckets
never
below.
seen
You've
this.
never seen this?
No, I've never seen this.
Oh my god.
Okay, so we're stomping
and-
the heck out of the grapes. She's very vigorous.
Watch,
Oh
there's-
boy.
Hold on, wait till they go the news people.
Oh, she's in a lot of pain. She can't breathe. Oh.
Did they go back to the news people yet?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I think she is. That's local in
That's pretty
Atlanta.
good. Yeah.
that one's my favorite. Well, don't forget. Why did this happen? This is Let's for the Kids. She does extra. She tries to get some extra in,
Yeah.
and then our sounds of
The sounds
agony are
of
great.
Agony
Yeah.
are pretty remarkable. Yeah, we can't do the play-by-play of my little guy in the Valvoline.
No.
That we can't do.
And I love that they go back. Oh no. Oh dear. I think she might. No, I think she is.
Dude, that is,
Like,
I was
how
in
are
that
they not-
business. I was in that business. That's a crazy business.
Ooh.
Local news business. Not great.
Oh, man.
buddy. All right, so much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. Brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Got about 2.5. You're up.
Well, it's all real tomorrow, brother. You'll be on the flight down.
Oh, baby.
Go time.
Real. I'll be in the wheels up.
You'll be there by probably 10 o'clock. You'll
Wheels
be
up in
9:30?
basically 17 hours.
Yeah. Are they? Well, maybe they don't want to divulge, but there's not a landing strip there for a plane of that size. So you're gonna
No, you go, I think you fly into like Lewisburg.
Okay. So you go there and then they'll shuttle
Bus
you
over.
up. Bus
Yeah,
you over.
there's a strip that's within a half hour, I think.
Yeah. It's interesting. This is going to be what Coach Stefanski is trying to do here is build a team, kids. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get them to a place where they can all bond together. He's trying to keep camp from being monotonous because it's extra long and add a little bit of spice to it. And I think he'll be successful in that part of it. I do think that there's an opportunity here for this to feel like there's a reason this worked for so long that you go to. I mean, the Steelers forever. They still do, don't they? Go to
Latrobe.
Yeah, they go out there and camp it up. This is what every NFL team used to do. They
Yes.
wouldn't do it at their facility. They'd
Right.
go someplace like this, not a 5-star resort, but a college campus, and they would go there and they would get away from it all and camp up. So there will be a little nostalgia that I think works for a lot of our guys. And
1 minute. 1 minute.
I think you got an opportunity with Deshaun to a full camp without anything is going to be fun.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited to get up there, excited to see how it is, and it's gonna make this fly by. I think in some ways, while 8 days in the Greenbrier could end up ultimately seeming like a long time, you're gonna have that. You're gonna be back. Hall of Fame game is gonna be played the following Thursday.
Yep.
Then you have 1 week of normalcy here. You take on the Commanders. Then that Sunday you go to Philly for the joint practices, play that game, come back Kansas City, come back and you go to
30,
Kansas
30.
City, and that's it.
Then you're done.
Then you're done. We're through August, and all of a sudden, we're getting ready to play the Bengals, which is what we're all waiting for.
Have fun down there, buddy.
I'm going to miss you.
I'll miss you too. Well, we'll still do the show, but
We will.
different locations. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850. ESPN Cleveland.
You're down. Great show.